today I'm going to show you guys what an Aussie Christmas actually looks like. Let's go. This is how we do Christmas in Australia, here on the beach. What a lot of people don't realise is that Christmas Day here went smack bang in the middle of summer, which means it's hot. In fact, here in Adelaide, which is where I grew up, it's not uncommon for the temperature to reach around 40 degrees Celsius. That's around 104 Fahrenheit, which means all of the activities we're going to do today are summer-based. In fact, some people are out doing them already.
Skating is an option. But so is swimming. Surfing. Beach cricket. And just generally laying around in the ocean.
But right now, it's probably too early in the day for all that. Now, after exchanging some gifts with the family this morning, we've got a rock family brunch to go to. So let's go there now. Oh, is this your little organic?
I'd love to dispel the myth that Australia doesn't have the scary spiders or anything, but my cousin delights in proving it is actually so.
Okay, yeah. Thanks very much for having us.
You're very welcome.
The afternoon has well and truly arrived, which means one thing. It's time for the beach.
Typically, this is my favourite part of the day because it means in between bouts of just chilling on the beach, you can sip something bubbly like butcher or sherbets or a beer, and when a Christmas present looks this good, you know you're going to have a really good time. We're just about to take a ski out and try to work out some knots and shit, but we're having issues with the dog not wanting to leave us. Riley, go inside. Go inside. Riley, you're a pretty girl. Bring it down. Oscar's up already. We are kind of worried a little bit about like shark activity because there are so many sharks here. But I thought we went quick, right? Let's go again. I'm not sure if Oscar's going to be able to get me off. We'll see, but I might have to bite my words. Massive day at the beach. It's very typical. Normally people have either a big Christmas lunch to attend or a Christmas dinner. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to my partner's house and sort of having a bit of a small affair, and we're going to go and enjoy some really good food and some good conversation and just taper off into the evening and enjoy the warm summer glow that is a beautiful Christmas evening here in Australia. What a lot of people don't realise is that this time of year, Christmas, New Year's, all happens at the very beginning, a big long summer break. That means that as a kid, these times were so valuable because it meant that we could spend 6 to 8 weeks off surfing, parents and hanging out with the girlfriend, but also just preparing for the inevitable return back to Navy. Jason, my nephew, does this thing where you. Another massive difference is the food that we consume in Australia for Christmas. I just want to dispel one very common myth: the shrimp on the barbie. Please do not do that. First of all, these here, what do we call them?
They are called prawns.
Prawns, not shrimp. Do we put them on the
Never.
Never.
Fresh
Never.
always, never on barbie.
Well, French don't. They're pre-cooked, but they're cold. So you've got shrimp on the barbie.
Or on pushing every day.
Thank you.
Other Australian Christmas foods include lamb, ham, and turkey. Oh, and cherries. Cherries are a real Christmas food. In my family, being super health conscious, we generally make some sort of raw food as well. In this case, it's a strawberry cake.
Did Santa ask Rudolph about the weather? Is it going to rain, dear?
As you get older, you realize more and more that Christmas isn't about the mythology, it's not about presents, it's not about food even, and it's not about the weather. It's actually about this. It's about connection with family. It's about conversation. It's about fun times. It's about, dare I say it, the love of food. And that, I think, is something that is universal.
Right, so very warm welcome to everybody here, and of course those that are joining us online as or Facebook Live and all the other social medias. So my name is Ray. I'm one of the immigration specialists here in the Singapore offices, and of course, what's going to be happening today is that I'll be sharing with you a bit about the Australia skill migration, the Canada skill migration, and for example, if you have any other questions after that, you can actually feel free to raise it to me. Okay, and what is going to happen is that after this session, we have a breakout session where we'll be individually going through your profile and the countries of your choice. Okay, so before we move on, I'll be sharing a bit about our company background. So we actually started in 2006. How we started off with my boss and my lady boss, two of them, and they were specializing to do only Australia immigration. So that's how that's actually how our company started. AIMS is actually stands for Australia Immigration Specialist. Okay, and like most companies, we have our vision and mission. When they started off the company, they wanted to be the biggest immigration company to provide you professional advice and getting you to where you want to go to. So the mission has always been the same. We strive to make sure that we are able to help you get the status of your choice in the country where you want to go to. Our values are as pushed, and every single letter has its own significant meaning. However, I am very aware that when it comes to being pushed to make a decision, sometimes you want to actually hold back and spend a bit more time to consider. But the thing is, when it comes to immigration, there are a lot of factors that are not within our control. Things like, for example, your age. Things, for example, like your health, and things, for example, like immigration rules. With our 14 years of experience, we have had cases where when they came back to us, we felt that if they had applied earlier, they actually give them a chance. So sometimes when I actually really hope that after this session, right, we are able to actually give you the additional confidence, additional advice and recommendation, so that you feel that when you start your application with us, you have the peace of mind that we'll be handling and walking you through this entire journey. So these are our current officers. Like I mentioned, when we started off, we was only in Singapore. Right now, we have 14 officers over 10 countries. So from 2 people, we have grown to become 300 immigration professionals. And we are not only doing 1 country in Australia. We are able to help you with 20 different countries at this moment. And we have already had about 8,000 happy families. All right. So these are all the countries that we are able to actually assist you in. So you can see how our company has grown with time. In the event, for example, if you have another country of interest, you can feel free to actually ask us later during the breakout rooms, or you can shoot your questions over on our Facebook Live or drop by our website to actually send in your inquiry. But solely today, we'll be more focusing on Australia and of course Canada. In terms of our services, these are what we are actually able to do. Today we are talking about skilled workers program. We do have investors, and we are able to help you with businesses as well. We of course are able to help you with various, for example, corporate relocation. So our services really did expand. And when it comes to migrating another country, or if you want to have assistance in this field, feel free to drop us your inquiry, and then we are able to actually assist you further. So today we will be touching on again only on the skilled migration. So why choose AIM? Why choose us as compared to other agencies, or is it something that I can do it on my own? Correct. So when it comes to how we work, to us is that we are literally a full spectrum of services. We really strive to be the solution provider to actually help you get the status of your choice, which is why we have so many different pathways right now. Okay, so based on your exact profile, we'll be able to advise and recommend you further. We also don't want to just help you with getting the PR. We also have the relocation services, where if you need help to actually move your entire house, furniture, or any kind of assistance, we will be able to provide you this kind of service. So we are literally a one-stop solution from the start, when you are actually just inquiring, all the way to the end, where you actually want to settle down in the country. Okay, so we have 14 years of experiences. So from this, we have a lot of case study. We know what is going on. We know what kind of migration rules will affect certain relativity to certain documents. So from there, you can actually be rest assured that with our expertise, you will not foresee any problems with your documents. When it comes to dedicated consultant, everybody will be attached to one consultant, for example, myself, and then there will be also a documentation specialist who is solely just handling your documents. So for example, if you're applying for Canada, you do not want the documentation specialist to be handling Canada, meanwhile handling Australia as well, because these two requires different documents. However, what if you're doing, for example, skilled migration? You wouldn't want this person who's handling skilled migration to be handling probably the investor and business case, because again, everything is mixed up. Right. So the dedicated documentation specialist is solely helping you with all on just skilled workers. So they are very focused when it comes to this. So that is one of our specialty as well. And then of course we have offices all over the world. So 14 countries. Alright. For example, if in a scenario that you want to drop off a certain document when you feel that maybe you're having problems scanning or having difficulties with that, you can actually go to our offices where we will assist you. So maybe if you want to go to Adelaide or even in Canada or even countries like Philippines, we all have offices there. This to me is very important. We are fully licensed. So when it comes to Australia immigration, we have a MARA agent registration number. You can actually go online and check it. So why this is very important is because when it comes to migration and when the government or the authorities reject your application, they may come back with unreasonable reasons. For example, maybe we in Asia and their language barrier, they feel that certain things that you actually prove, they actually deny it. So all our applications are going through these immigration lawyers to make sure that even if the rejection comes, we will be sure that our immigration lawyer is going to take action first to make sure that we can revert the outcome. Alright? So the good news is that when it comes to Australia and Canada, they are currently the most livable cities. So this is by Bloomberg, not by myself. So today we're looking at Australia and Canada as a good choice. So now we're going down and diving more into Australia. So some of the topics of like why people choose Australia. One of the reasons is because it's closer to hometown, right? So probably if you're flying to the further part of Australia, it takes about 7 hours, and the nearer part is up to 4 hours, correct? And then when it comes to, of course, education. So the education for kids has always been a big topic. For example, if you are maybe, this applies to foreigners in Singapore. If one person is, or maybe you're not even a PR in Singapore, your kids will have to actually attend international schools in Singapore. And attending international schools in Singapore can be very expensive. It's easily about $1,000 a month, correct? However, if you are a PR of Australia, it's fully covered up to secondary school. And even though, even after that, they want to pursue universities. And local uni in Singapore is not easy to get in, right? So when your kids want to attend universities, you'll be sending them to probably like Kaplan, Monash, and all of these are Australian schools. So in fact, if you're actually attending universities in Australia, you're paying 1/4 of what an international student is paying. So that is where the cost saving and where it may actually affect in your, it can be a consideration for you as to why you should start your Australia application as soon as possible. The next thing is the quality of life. To be fair, Singapore quality of life has always been getting more and more challenging. So a lot of the times is that you want to spend more time with your family, you want to spend more time with your kids. So from what I understand is that in Australia, you get off work on time. We have heard that by 5:30 you start packing up, and by 6 you leave the office. But in Singapore, it's always a bit different. So education is free education, and this is just a rough gauge of what we have actually researched. Healthcare, if you're looking at probably just a regular birth, is totally free as well. This is just a rough estimate of minimum wage in Australia. So per week, you're looking at about $740. And of course, that's minimum wage. If I were to share a bit about like occupation, like I'm a teacher or I'm an IT or I'm a healthcare worker, how should I gauge how much am I getting more in Australia? So we have did various studies, and easily is about 20 to maybe 40%. Some can even get double, but that would be a rough good estimate. Cost of living is definitely much cheaper in Australia. So buying a house, probably you're spending 300K for an entire house, but for Singapore, you also be expecting to get like 3-room to 4-room flat. And then for cars, it's easily a quarter cheaper as compared to what we are paying in Singapore. Alright, so now we'll be going more into the visa, skilled migration, of how how does all this work. Right, so all these three is 189190491. You may be a bit alien, where what is all this number all about? So basically, these three I'll be covering on later on further in depth. But what you need to know is all three will ultimately land you a PR in Australia. Okay, and then of course, you just need the PR that you'll be getting is for 5 years. To renew it, you just need to stay for 3 years. So this is the key part, the common criteria. For Australia, you must always note that when you hit 45, you will fall out of eligibility. Okay, so for us, our recommendation is to put in the application maximum by 43.5, because it takes easily about 4 to 6 months for your application to go into the express of interest. That's when your application gets considered. So even if you put at 43.5, your application will be considered for 1 year. If you're putting it at 44, you're only looking at a few more months only. So we'll definitely give you our recommendation later based on your profile. Of course, you need to do a skill assessment. So every occupation have a different authority that's assessing your occupation. You'll be looking at your work experience, and you'll be looking at based on your education. So all of this is a bit technical. So we will definitely, even for those on Facebook Live, if you want to do a free assessment, just drop us a message, and then our consultants will get in touch with you. Alright. For competent English is the English exam, the IELTS. So for Australia, you can take general IELTS or academic IELTS for some profession, and of course PTE. And then lastly, the minimum cut-off for you to qualify is 65 points. So with the various visa types, it can enable you to hit the minimum 65 points. So I'll be touching on that later. However, I mentioned, do remember that when it comes to applying, the key thing is, are you eligible now? Because we have no control of our age, we have no control of our health, and we have no control of our the migration rules. So as long as you are eligible, I quote you one case. We have this nurse, all right? Her points was 50. 50 means she's not eligible. There's only one visa type that can enable her to be eligible, to help her hit 65 points, which is the 491, which I'll be sharing. So at 50 points, most of you may feel that you hold back and not want to put in your application. However, she did put in the application with us 2 years ago, and recently, because of a pandemic that no one could have predicted 2 years ago, she got selected at 65 points because she's a registered nurse. So this is why we always stand clear that as long as you are eligible, our advice is that if you really dream to actually move to Australia, we will advise you to put in your application, because with us, we are always waiting for the opportunity for you to get selected, and you can be rest assured that our goal is from start to end. And the thing is, our fees are very reasonable, and our consultants will be sharing with you why. So these are all the criteria. Again, I won't dive deep into it. So basically, to get maximum points in each category, for the age optimum is 25 to 32. So you can see the trend is that the younger you are, the higher chance you have. English is something controllable. If you want to score maximum, is superior. We are working very closely with association, where we'll be providing you materials, master classes, and mock exam. All these are inclusive of our service fee. So we are giving you all the support materials possible to get the maximum points for your own particular profile. Lastly, qualification, bachelor's. Most of our clients come in as bachelor's. Master's, bachelor's fall in the same category. The next one will be doctor. And then overseas skilled employment depends on where you're working, just outside of Australia. So those, we need to make sure that it's relevant to the occupation that we are actually selecting you, and everything has to be aligned. Alright? This is pretty new. There are other factors such as partner points. So if you are single, you immediately get 10 points. So that is fortunate for those that are single. However, if you are married, don't worry. As long as the partner is able to actually do the IELTS exam and clear the assessment, you will also get 10 points. Alright? So lastly, you can see on the last area here, 190 and 491. This will give you additional points. So there are total 3 visa types that we are able to help you with. So these are the 3 different visa types. All of them will help you put a fit into a country. Some is better and more popular. Some has criteria. So for the 189 is a direct visa. This will enable you to live and stay anywhere in Australia. The good thing about all these 3 visas is that you do not need to first secure you a job. You can directly apply to get a PR first. Okay? The 190 is also a direct PR, and this has a requirement. The requirement is that there's a moral obligation for you to actually stay in the state that selects you. As I mentioned earlier, this 190 will give you additional 5 points. Lastly is the 491. This is a provisional visa. This will help you give additional 15 points. So these 15 points to me is a bonus for those that need an improvement because they lack in other areas. So this is a decision that can be controlled by you. So for 491, the requirement is that you have to live and work in the regional area for 3 years before you are able to convert to a PR. But my recommendation is always consistent. If today the idea is for you to get a PR in Australia, it's always important to make sure that you put one foot into the country first. Because the moment you put one foot into the country, you are definitely able to work towards getting the PR. And if that is the goal, if you do not try for any of these visas, it always means that you're always at the side watching about what migration updates and you're hoping that it works in your favor. But the thing is, you are always watching but you're never in the game. Alright? So when it comes to, for example, today, I have the idea of starting the application, but where do I start? So we'll definitely go through a consultation with one of our immigration specialists first, and then from there we can decide and help you confirm that you are eligible to apply, and that is the most important. The moment you are eligible to apply, our company will be willing to help you with your case, and then we'll start to prepare documents and we'll make sure that we can get the maximum amount of points when it comes to the skill assessment. After that, when everything is lodged together with your English exam, the express of interest is where your application will start to be considered, and that is where we will start working on all the possible state nominations and all the various visa types. So when we help our clients, we don't help with just one visa. We will literally cast the net as wide as possible for you to get selected. But that only comes if you agree and give us the green light to go ahead with our recommendation. Okay. So upon when you get selected, of course, you need to do a first landing. And then basically your PR is for 5 years, and to renew it is to actually accumulate 24 months of stay. Okay, so the good thing about Australia is buy one get one free. So you immediately are able to stay in New Zealand, and if you want to convert to PR in New Zealand, it is a different criteria as well. And if you are to apply for New Zealand, you don't get the Australia residency. So I will always suggest to go by Australia. All right. And now we move on to Canada. So right now what we are seeing is that Canada is very welcoming to the draws. And you can see that the number of invitations given on the various months from 600 all the way to 5,000, you can see that they are really opening up. And you can see the minimum CRS score, even though it is pretty high, okay, you can see that it's going on the downtrend. And in 17 August, you can see that it's 771 is for provisional nomination. I will be touching on as to what this provisional nomination is. However, I can safely tell you, the person that actually got in through the 771 points, his actual points is only 171. Because the provincial nomination helps him get additional 600 points. So this is where, for those that are looking at Canada, this is how the trend is looking right now. Okay, so government also announced that they are actually opening even more quotas. You can see over here that they are opening up to 1.2 million all the way for until 2022. Correct. These are all declared by Canada. And the reasons why you should go to Canada, again, beautiful scenery, very similar to Australia, high quality of education, free education as well, highly subsidized when it comes to universities. Medical is also free, and it's top-notch medical in Canada as well. Cost of living is very similar, 300k to buy a big house, about 20k to get a car. And the jobs in Canada, you can see that they are actually desperately trying to fill up whatever that is, that is not filled at the moment. So this is where the opportunity to apply for Canada is moving. However, how do we check whether or not you're eligible to actually even put in your application. So the minimum cut-off points for to be eligible is 67 points. Yeah, these are the common few criteria: age, education, English exam, working experience. And then arranged employment and adaptability, these are a bit of a bonus. If you have actually arranged employment in Canada, really that is a very big advantage for you. Okay. So again, when it comes to the points, I will not be diving deep into it. These are all the maximum points that you are able to achieve for each category. Age, we'll be looking at the merit and the common law section. So age is 100 points, level of education maximum is 140. Official language, if you are able to speak French, do let us know. Maximum of 124, working experience 128, sorry, and then Canadian work experience 70. If you're applying as a couple, the points also do change a bit, and the partner, there's additional partner points that will be calculated. This is some of the things when we go down further down into the skill transferability. We actually always recommend our clients to score listening 8, reading, speaking, writing 7 for IELTS, the IELTS exam. And for Canada, they only accept general IELTS. Okay, so this is why we always pay so much attention to providing you the support materials to actually score very high for the IELTS. We will give you unlimited mock exams so that you don't need to keep retaking the exams. So this is to really make sure that you are prepared before you sit for the actual exam. And we really want to help you hit the maximum score. As you can see here, everything here, when you score the recommended score, you score higher points if you score otherwise. Correct, same as the foreign work experience. Okay. If you have brothers or sisters living in Canada, or even relatives, please make sure to inform us, because it will serve as an advantage to you as well. And then the last one that I want to touch on is the PNP. So there are so many states in Canada. However, not all the states provinces. Not all the provinces is something that you can actually apply. So the rules always change. However, as of now, most of these provinces, you are required to have an arranged employment before you can put in your application. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that every single province you have application in, so that when you get these 600 points, you are actually become a Canadian PR. So when for example, if your application is with us, you can be safely say that every single day, our team, our documentation specialist team, they are literally looking at migration updates and looking at which province is able for you to put your application in. If you are doing on your own, I'm not saying that you can't, but you can do it on your own. However, how often will you be checking? Is it something that on a day-to-day basis, is it something that you want to do? So if it takes 6 months, probably you can work on it for 6 months. But what if it takes a year? What if it takes 2 years? So if your application is with us, you can safely put it as we are literally every single day watching for an opportunity for us to put application in. A bit of the history about how serious we are when it comes to your application. Last time, this provisional nomination, they have fastest fingers first. It's literally fastest fingers first. Okay, so maybe every 3 months they release a quota. Okay, our boss activated our entire company to come down to make sure that we snatch every single PNP possible. So that's how we treat our applications, how seriously we are treating our application, and this is why we stick to our mission that we really just want to make sure that our clients reach their migration goals. Okay. Alright, so this is how the flow works. It's very similar to Australia. If you engage us with AIMS, we will also going through an assessment, and then we will do the education credentials where we need to submit your bachelor's or diploma or master's. Alright, after that we apply for express entry, and then we will start working on your provisional nomination. Alright, after that when you receive the ITA, you just need to do the medical clearance, the police clearance, and then you will get granted your PR visa. So this is something like how the permanent residence PR will look like. And if you are looking into converting into a citizenship, Canada passport is one of the strongest in the world. You just need to stay there for 3 years out of the 5 years. Okay. So this is really the end. And even for those that are attending us on Facebook Live, I hope this information is useful for you. Please drop drop us a message and get in touch with us on our website or on our Facebook, and we will want to actually help you do a free assessment. Okay.